Not on property?
No.
It's
Oh,
on
we want it.
property?
It's on ours.
We're going live, guys.
Understood.
Yeah.
Are we ready? Are we
I
live?
think
Yes,
so.
You gotta give us a and scene.
Can we just start with a happy birthday to Bill?
Happy birthday, Bill.
Thank you very much. Okay. Had minutes that were sent out in the email to everyone, so,
And they are attached.
and they are also attached, so I will accept the motion to accept the minutes from our February meeting.
So moved?
So moved, and I need a second.
Second.
Second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? None opposed. Okay. I don't see anybody here for public comment. Attendance wise, everybody knows everybody in the room. And who's keeping the notes today? Who's taking the?
It'll be
minutes?
Julie, yeah.
Julie's gonna do it remotely. Okay, very good. All right, start with Ray, Highway, Parks.
Rating. Highway crews as usual, working on resident request. Numerous trees, we've been getting a lot of calls on trees and limbs, you know. I think the amount of rain we've had is probably added to, you know, stuff not looking real good. So we've been out trimming a lot of trees. State, yeah. We've gotten a few calls. We advised them to call DOT on Prescott Avenue. So we don't know what it wasn't anything to do with the power lines or anything. It just looked like they took down some monstrous trees.
Yeah.
But, we don't have any intel on why, so. And it doesn't look like it's running, because they left some in the same line that the ones that they removed.
Right.
So it doesn't look like it's for a widening project or anything to me, but
Were you just evaluating maybe
it
certain?
could have
trees
been
that
what
didn't
would have
look
been a
like they were?
hazard. You know, I don't have any intel on that. I'm just basing that on what I've seen. Our hot box is out, patching holes, coal patch for the winter months, keeping a list so that we can go back around and do them in a permanent way. Spring, when the hot, flat top plants are open. We've had crews out, obviously in the backyards, cleaning cages and outfalls, backyard drainage, roadside drainage, trying to keep the drains clear, with all the rain and the snow melt that we've had, so. Not really. The people see our guys out there, they come out and thank them, so. Obviously, they've been seeing us, so. Now, I think our fix over there on St. Anne is working well, isn't it, Matt? The folder. So that made a difference there. Personnel update. So I have a tentative hiring of a grounds worker. I'll get the stuff to Janet in HR, which will send it to Elena for the board meeting. Just an update, next month we'll be doing probably return summer help from last year, so you'll see that coming next month. Parks crew's been trimming in various parks, from River Road to Fieldstone Estates. Just general park maintenance, trying to fix fences. Days that they can't work in the parks when it's too wet. We were hoping to wrap up the first section of Fieldstone by the end of next week. Obviously, the rain that we've had here the last few days has put a hampering on that, but the bridges have all been removed, the sub base is all put down. A lot of the brush has been chipped up within our work area. And we're hoping to have that finished up. We got about probably 5 days worth of work left there. We can get in there and stay there for 5 continuous days. We'll be done.
Thanks.
Yard waste pickup. I have a flyer, sent a flyer with this for the 2024 yard waste. It'll be in Niskayuna on March 29th and the Gazette March 30th, Saturday. So we will post this on the website. I will make copies, leave them down by the clerk's office like we always do in one of the folders there. So people will be able to see the dates, so the approximate start, weather dependent. Town board resolutions for quotes for seed and fertilizer, quotes for spreading services for 2024 season, rollover bids for all our paving services, including Matt's, our street paving and Matt's patchwork. So everybody agreed. So this is our second year on the rollover bid to hold their prices, which is really good. Rollover bid on Baker Avenue, mowing contract for the small park on Baker, between Baker and Lexington. This would normally be with Dean Street Park as well. Dick Fritz, after over 30 years of mowing the park, has sent me a letter saying that he's getting out. Somewhat. I think he's going to spend a little time doing some stuff, which is too bad. Dick's always been a pleasure to work with, always done a phenomenal job over there. Had a good relationship with the Dean Street Board. Took a lot off our shoulders. Easy way to say it is that's what he did. He was our buffer. I talked to Beth on that contract, so I'll be getting quotes for that. Dick has agreed to meet with me and the prospective people to give us quotes for that. I hope to have them by the end of the month. I don't know with the rain season and who's coming out or who's coming out of, you know, most landscaping companies are just starting to open their doors, so.
Work is much notice.
Yeah. Yeah, well, we're hoping that we can get 3 decent quotes that are reasonable. So I'll be working on that. Highway garage, we're working on ordering all the equipment that was approved in February. That's going well so that we can get locked in reasonable prices, and so with the amount of time that it takes to get the equipment, it's good to do it as soon as you can. So we got a few pieces that are immediate delivery, and then we have some that will probably be waiting better part of a year. So it takes a good and a bad. Open discussion. Anybody have anything for me?
Yeah, but I'm gonna do it offline if that's okay, because it's just Monday and stuff.
We did get an email from the resident about River Road Park. I forwarded that to you,
Yeah.
Supervisor. We are making improvements in that park and doing things there. Trees have to come down.
And that, when we went and looked at the site, multiple, Matt, myself, Jamie, Laura, you know, that was identified that between the infrastructure that has to go in and the placement of the splash pad, you know, we're the 2 projects that we've done already, the pavilion and the playground, as essentially that area on the backside of that bike path was pretty much unusable for many years. It was just wet. And, from the initial brush that we cleared in the beginning to put the parking lot in, it's dried up substantially. Part of the infrastructure going in is drainage, for the structures that are there, help keep that dry, so, it's unfortunate that we have to take large trees down, but, you know, every one of our facilities, as it facilitates new stuff or expanding, you have to look at the best viable area. It's demand. People are using our parks overwhelmingly. I think it's a good, solid project. I think it's going to be great when it's done, and I think it will get used a ton. And like I say, it's
We
also,
also replant trees in other places.
we do plant trees, and
And we will be replanting shrubs and trees and, you know, adding to the
Right.
landscaping there.
and that won't only be with this project. You know, there'll be future expansion of more trees and more landscape as the whole park settles in and the projects are done. You know, it's not just a few plants around the structures. There, you know, we've planted Christmas trees that we get a bald tree for a Christmas tree. So we utilize that tree and plant it in our parks. We planted quite a few of them pine trees over there. So they will come to maturity. We'll continue to do that. It's more than just one project. It's just a way to maintain our parks for the better of everybody.
Yeah, the reality is we've had a lot of residents over the past 2.5 years plus reach out because River Road Park has seen a significant increase in usage. The girls softball programming is located there, which has seen exponential growth, which means there's additional parking that was needed. There was additional bathrooms that were needed. There was also a demand from our residents to have additional areas to rent space for celebrations, birthday parties, and so on and so forth. There were people who reached out and wanted more inclusive playground opportunities. So we really were very thoughtful in how we planned these upgrades in terms of being responsive to our residents' needs, their growing needs, their changing needs. We also have these trails that are nearby that are very heavily used. We've had residents, seniors reaching out, asking, can we have benches? Could we have bathrooms that are closer to those trails? So those bathrooms are not only going to, you know, serve our youth sports and those families affiliated with youth sports, but also people who are using those trails. And, you know, our long-term goal is to make additional upgrades to those trails and make them more accessible. There's, you know, routes and so on and so forth. And we're really looking at our trails to see how we can make them more accessible for all users while maintaining that, that natural rustic feel. And there are absolutely ways to do that. We've researched what other communities are doing and analyzed what other trails look like in other communities and have looked at our trails to identify ways to make improvements. So a lot of thought, communication with a lot of residents have gone into this. And of course, taking down trees always breaks my heart. Like it's hard to do, but in the long run, I think it's going to serve the greater good. And we are absolutely going to plant new trees that I think will be best for that area because, you know, we're already seeing a lot of children playing at the park and a lot more people are using that portion of the park. And the trees that were there could potentially be a danger, a risk. Those large pine trees have root structures that don't go very deep. So when we experience rain and high winds, in the long run, they could be a safety issue. So again, we've really, really tried to look at all the different variables and maximize our grant funds. These are grant funded projects to make the best improvements for the most amount of people in town. So I'm happy people are reaching out, and we're working really hard to educate everyone that has questions or concerns about our decision-making process, and also just remind everyone of our commitment to trees. We are a tree city, and we've been a tree city for decades. And there's a reason for that, because we're committed to trees, we're committed to planting trees and taking care of trees. And I will say that is also the Highway, Parks and Transportation Department. They do a phenomenal job taking care of our trees in town, making sure to replant trees all around town. So I appreciate the questions, and please, if you receive additional questions or concerns, send them our way to Aaron, Ray, or myself, and we'll be happy to speak to residents.
And I was gonna say, the other part is, it's such a great feeder from Rosendale.
Oh, yeah.
Well, like kids right after school, can come right over with their parents.
Yeah.
It's like, so, I mean, that's so exciting for me. If I had like a kid that age, I'd be like, this is so much fun. Like a little day trip.
Yeah.
You go back and forth, you know?
And those trails, they're used by residents, and it's almost like creating a little park inside of our larger park, and acknowledging that that area is used, and how can we make it more user friendly and expand opportunities to more people. So I think when it's all said and done, it's going to be a great addition. And Ray always says it'll look worse
Before it gets better.
before it gets better. Isn't that the way life is too? So
When you guys show up and look at me like, oh my God, what did you do? Thing, and it'll be worse before it gets better, but I think the end result, and you know, out of all the meetings we've had with everybody, is there'll be a little something there for everybody. You know, the trails are still untouched, very wooded, very mature trees.
and they're gonna stay that way.
And you're exactly, and we like that integrity. We like that they're, you know, you still have to keep them safe. You have to keep the brush trimmed back a little bit, but you don't have to put a 20-foot trail through there. You know, you keep them
Natural looking.
natural.
Yep.
You know, Jamie's talked to me about a few benches where you enter the park. You know, a lot of people just like to sit and look at the green space. So, the impact of this project, I mean, we picked an area where about 7 trees were impacted. Could have been a lot worse.
Yeah. Yeah,
You know,
people just get very concerned, as you know, with change.
Yeah.
and it's disturbing to have to take down big trees like that, but when you're putting such stuff in that we're putting, a tree that can reach a splash pad structure, or a tree that can reach a playground, is dangerous.
Right.
So all that is taken into account when we look at these. Again, it's unfortunate, but we'll make it better than it ever was when we're done. So.
All right, anything else for Ray? Open discussion. All right, now we'll move on. Recreation community programs.
Awesome. Just to piggyback on that, if you just want to take a look, we got to meet with Matt, and Lori and I got to take a little field trip last week and met with a potential Northeast recreation over in that area. And he was a wonderful guy. Like, he was very knowledgeable, and Matt was amazing. Thank you, Matt, for all your insight. And we got to see some really cool stuff, and he thought the area was fantastic.
Email.
He really liked the space and thought it was a really doable place to use. So that was kind of cool. Ski club update. It was very successful, even with a limited amount of snow. We only had to, we ended up starting the season a week late, but they were able to get all of the ski dates in. We had one hiccup where the bus broke down, and the kids had a choice to wait for the bus and continue on, or to get picked up and go home. which it was funny. My daughter decided to come home, which was senior night basketball night. She's like, I think God was telling me to go to Rocco's game, and so that worked out. But it was actually the later of the season. It seemed like it got better, and the kids did have a really good time. Summer update. So the book, the activities book and the recreation book is ready to go. It'll be out April 1st, and registration will start then too on Rec One. We already have a lot of applications for employment. The last day for applications to come in is on 3/29, and then we'll start doing interviews for that. So if anybody is looking to be employed by the town, please get it in by 3/29. We have the spring hat and bunny parade on Friday, March 29th. And that is on the website if you want more information, but we will have a bunny parade like we do every year. And the bunny is very excited to come. And we will have the parade and lots of fun activities. And you can take a picture with the bunny and get a little thing of candy. Spring soccer update. The registration is going well. As of 3:15, there will be a late fee. And we are still looking for refs and coaches. The dates for spring soccer is between April 22nd and May 15th. And it's on Mondays and Wednesdays nights. Our submittal for the CIP grant. Lori is, she's almost finished with this. She's going to be putting it in, and it's going well on that. We are live with our MLS schedules. We are up and running.
Yes,
And we have
congrats.
met with all of our sports teams. So we're going through that. We have one outside, like third party that we're going to be meeting with this week, Crossfire. But other than that, we have met with all the rec teams and travel teams for Niskayuna, and that has all gone well. And I'm starting to input schedules, and it's going okay so far. So far, so good. Of that.
Get over the large speed hump.
Oh my God, that PayPal thing, that took all day. I was doing a jig once I figured that out. And we have, and I'm just gonna let you talk about this, but we have a resolution that's gonna be going in for a wonderful gift from one of your ladies, and you can update if there's any more
I'll
money
mention
coming
it.
in. Yeah.
While you brought it up, so we have her, who's a long-term resident of our community here in Niskayuna, and she's a member of our senior center, and she passed recently. Her name is Helen Papetti. Her family, they're so kind, and they included us in lieu of flowers. They mentioned us along with another organization that if people wanted donations, they were welcome to. So we did get 3 donations in her name, and they've been passed along.
And did you give me the checks too, or no?
They're in the,
They are in the
coming to you, yes.
Oh, they're coming to me?
Yes, they
Okay,
are.
yeah, I just need
I
the
sent
dates.
you the photo of them in case you need the information
Yeah, I
out of them, but I have the
Perfect. Okay, great.
Helen Perfetti. P-E-R-F-E-T-T-I. About the community. Okay. Yeah, thereabouts. Okay.
And that's all I got.
Yeah, shoot, that was a loss. She was a lovely woman. She was very nice. How did she run circles around everyone? It's really, really fun. It's a loss, but, you know, good things come from. So, we're very appreciative. So as far as the senior program goes, we have a couple of things. We did a toast bar in February for our Valentine's Day. Nobody knew what it was. So it was kind of fun. We brought that out. We tried that on for size. People seemed to like it and we bring it back. We did most recently, well, next we had Laura's presentation. So our building department, our planning department came over and they talked about the project and asking for our public for feedback for planning for 2025. So it was very well received. I mean, first of all, you guys did a great job imparting that much information in a small period of time. which is really appreciative. And then there were some nice follow-up questions, and then the leave behind materials, we're gonna hang on to them for another week or two. And we're gonna move them up. Right now they're downstairs because people keep adding to them. We're gonna move them upstairs so that we get the full breadth of our members, because some people, depends on what activities they plug into as to what they see where. So we'll make sure everybody sees that, and they're still circulating. We have, our sewing group has become very popular, and it has now morphed, it's kind of like transitioned into, Mondays are the learn and work groups, and then Thursdays are the work groups. So if anybody wants to learn, or they need to kind of refresh their skills, Monday's a great day to come in on that. And then we also have, I will say Mondays as a whole have become a day. So we're not a 2-day program anymore. We have programs going all the time. So between the three of us, sometimes five of us, we just divide and conquer. And Monday is a full day. So initially we would just come in and get caught up on computer work, paperwork, what have you. And we would do the lunch counts. However, we have a 10 a.m. sewing club. We have a 10 a.m. Qigong. We have an 11 a.m. pickleball, a 12:30 chair Pilates class. And then we go home and Edie comes back in and she's got a 4:30 open art and she's got a 5:30 mahjong. So it's really Monday, Tuesday, Thursday. Wednesdays are our mom's group, and they kind of come every other Wednesdays. They take a break in the summer, but then they're back in the fall. And then Fridays, we use our Fridays and Saturdays for like one-offs. So our Alzheimer's group is near and dear to us, and they come in the first Friday of every month. And then on Saturdays, we usually reserve at least one Saturday, if not two, for our SAS, like an art workshop. So I just want to kind of prompt people. There's a lot of moving parts these days, so I would recommend checking in online to our website, because we've got your access to the calendar, the menu, whatever you need, and then you can always kind of take a look at that. Just because it's a lot, and then you don't have to listen to me rattle on. So I will say before we get into the rest of the March calendar, we had our Mahjong tournament last Saturday. We had about 30 people. It went over very well. And so we are very thankful to everybody who helped with that. And I do need to do a shout out to Barbara Rips. She's one of our members, but she really stepped up and helped us pull this off. And I think people were very happy. We did a beginning, a medium, and advanced group. So there are 3 groups. We may change that format a little, and we're going to try to aim to do one in the fall. So that's the thing. So, we were relieved because, this is the first time we had done this. So we thought we were organized and prepared, but you never know until the rubber meets the road. So fortunately it went off and everybody seemed very good. So
And were there enough people in each of the groups beginning?
We did. We actually, in some of the groups, had to have a 5th chair for rotation. So, yeah. And then there was one person who wasn't able to make it. So we had that little adjustment. So it was neat. It was interesting. So Gershon supplied, they're very, these tournaments have a flow to them. So we followed that. And Barbara was helpful with that for us. And then we planned accordingly. And Gershon's came in and they did a couple of different trays because they'll usually take 1 or 2 breaks in the morning and then a final break at noon. So we had those. And then Robin and I were making coffee and tea and what have you and running up and down stairs. So there's a few lessons learned, but it was good. It's good. Yeah, great. Yeah, the old place was pretty good. Or we tried anyways. So, and Edie's, I will give a shout out to Edie's husband and her son, TJ, because they came in and they helped take the tables and chairs down. So it just flowed. We were out of there by 1:30. So it was good.
And did you announce the winners on social media?
I
Because winners should be announced.
Everybody was a winner. Nobody wants to announce a good guy. And yeah, there should have been posts on the Facebook post, but let us know if we missed anything.
Awesome.
Make sure that we get that out there for everyone.
That's really good.
May 4th is our defensive driving group. I will say that out loud because everybody seems to give us a call. They're always looking for that. That's where you sit. It's, you know, it takes a day, but it gives you the discount on your insurance. May 4th, all the information will be online and you can always give us a call. You call them directly to reserve your slots.
They're supposed to use the force.
Right?
Sorry, I had to get the name
That's
joke.
why. So then for the rest of March, pretty briefly, I will just point out that we have a sketchbook class with Laura Lee, and it's at 10:30 on Tuesdays, and she's got a nice little draw. So feel free to give us a call if you're interested in that. That's every Tuesday this month. We have today, I'm excited. Today we have this guy, he's gonna come in. It's from the Electric City Barn, and it's the Art Barn, and it's the chain mail metal work. And so we have a guest coming in to kind of show us about that. And he will be doing some sort of a project. We have, so St. Patrick's Day falls on the weekend. So we're going to do St. Patty's Day on the 14th. And we have entertainment, and we have Melanie. She's a flautist, and she comes in, and she's very good. And everybody really likes her. So we'll have her come in, and she'll focus in some Irish styles and entertainment, and we'll go from there. On that following Saturday, SAS is coming in, and we have a workshop. It's watercolor and pens. And then I think lastly, in addition to our usual stuff, we do have one more art class, and it's squeegee painting with Maria, and that's 12:30 on the 28th. That's a Thursday. So that's a lot. Again, feel free. I know I need to slow my roll. I talk very fast. I will work on that. So some of you guys going, that's work. So, but that's give us a holler if you need anything. You're welcome.
Anything else for community programs?
I have one thing to add, and I'm mentioning this because I think it might need to be discussed in finance, but I talked to the supervisor after our meetings with the sports teams. We met with youth football, who mentioned how much the bleachers are falling apart up at Aqueduct, where the fields are back there. They're wooden, they're old, I know they're in rough shape. I hadn't thought about it until I mentioned it, but they're in rough shape. So he's going to be applying for a grant through Community Foundation, and asked if we might be able to either match funds or write a letter saying that we would support, supplementing whatever they might award. So I don't know how much that would be or where to start that conversation, but if we're able to include a letter, that might give them a better chance of being awarded funds. So I don't know where that goes on which agenda, but I wanted to mention it.
Is that replacement or repair?
Replacement. So they sent over some quotes. They're pretty expensive. So they wouldn't be able to get all of the money. They kind of fundraise. They kind of, but they were sort of saying, is there anything that we could do to supplement whatever they would ask for from the?
Can you send me these quotes?
I can, yes. It's a link. It's somewhere around like $17,000 for the two sets up there. So obviously, they would need to do some of the work, and they have volunteers, I guess, that would help to put the gravel in and the cement pad and things like that. So they do have that, but I'll send that over, and then maybe you guys can talk about what we're. Yeah. I don't even know if there's like, oh yeah, I'm the volunteer.
So we did do some extensive work years past. We replaced wood. The board was, and they weren't gonna last forever. They came from Union College.
Yeah.
I moved them on a tractor trailer back in the day, so yes. The ones that we bought through the Schenectady County grant are aluminum, but they're small, like, maybe 10, 15 people. They're not to the magnitude of the football stadium. So I would be interested in what they're looking at purchasing. Yeah, that would be great. I do not have a battery. I'm definitely not in charge of better ideas. Yeah, and I would assume that they're probably updated to today's standards, so.
Yeah.
Was that how I supposed to say it? You had that look at me like, don't, that's enough.
Okay.
I was
You
just,
have some things.
I was just gonna thank Linda and expand on what she said about the comprehensive plan committee. Chairman Strayer and Laura gave a presentation at the senior center that was well received, and thank you for hosting us so well. We had some good feedback, including a request for a local movie theater. Good thought. But the comprehensive plan is something that the town board has the committee update every 10 years. So it's a very important document. And the committee is reaching out for community feedback at a variety of locations. So we did leave behind a box with some surveys for folks who visit the senior center to provide feedback. There's also a box right when you come in town hall. So anyone who comes and wants to provide feedback, this is a mechanism to help shape the town going forward. So it's a
And
very
it's not
important.
Site too, like.
It's also on the website. Can find out more on the website. I know there's some other outreach sessions planned at fire stations and places like that, but the committee is really looking for feedback from as many residents as possible. We appreciate you giving us a opportunity to speak to people that. And then just, the engineering department, planning department, and highway department have been working closely on anything drainage related. So at the engineering meeting yesterday morning, we gave a quick update on 2 projects, and we just wanted to repeat that here. And that was 2890 River Road. That's a 3-lot subdivision that's been approved by the planning board. The applicant is working on deeds for 2 portions of the land that they're donating to the town. So they're actively working on that right now, and we expect that to be done in a couple of weeks. So the town will take ownership of those 2 important pieces of property. They're also working on their plat drawing, which is their final recording of the new subdivided properties. As soon as they have those done, then we'll schedule a pre-construction meeting for that project. And then also GE Vernova, they're on the planning board agenda Monday, the 11th, for a resolution for approval of a new building that they would like to construct. And there's also a stormwater related component to that. There is a new stormwater basin on that property. A pretty straightforward project, but it's working well. Ray, Matt, Laura are all staying really plugged in and coordinated on the.
I know you find it hard to believe.
And we don't.
It's your birthday, so.
We get success when we work together, right? We get success. We don't want
That,
and looking at projects ahead of time, like you and I discussed the
Yeah.
road, we talked very much about that. Because these are things that learning, and when we don't, really do our homework, the town ends up with things that become problems later on. So thank you to your department, Matt, Ray, everybody for, again,
that collaboration has been really good.
yes.
It's identified a lot of things that have, been on back burner stuff for a long time, so, and it's addressing new things as well, so I think we've accomplished a lot.
The town taking property,
Yeah.
because then that means that we have to maintain that. And in certain cases, we want to do those things because in that particular project, as you told me, there's drainage things and there's.
Yeah.
We're probably gonna need to be able to get in there on that.
They
property
came up
and
with a
maintain
couple
it.
different options, and I
Yeah.
think that was
Yeah.
Clark and Laura worked on, we went from bare minimum to actually making out very well.
Anything else? That's it. All right, our next meeting is April 4th at 8 AM. Check the calendar.
It is what it is, Billy. You have to switch stuff around.
Okay, sure, you know.
That's-
That looks good. So April 4th, 8 a.m. All right, so I will accept a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Take a second on the motion. Second. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Opposed? We're adjourned. Thank you.
That